Well, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Justin Odisho podcast. That's me, Justin Odisho. Today, we're coming to you live from New York City, Manhattan right now, and I'm here with Brett Conti.
What's up, guys?
Welcome to the podcast. Thanks so much for agreeing to do this. We actually just, I just did like an impromptu meetup in at Washington Square Park.
And I was a fan that went, and then he was like, hey, I need one fan to be on my podcast, Brett. If you'd like to be that one fan, you can come on. So thank you. Biggest
Brett
fan.
was the only person that showed up, and so figured why not make the most of it. This is actually the meetup right now, but no.
No, it was a good turnout. He has a lot of New York City fans.
No, I actually linked up with Brett very spontaneously. Just a little backdrop into what you do. You're from, I don't know, are you, that's the thing. See, I've known your content just because you're in this circle of people that.
Yeah, we have a lot of mutual friends.
Exactly. We have so many mutual contacts. And I've seen your channel. I never really watched it, but every time I am about to come to New York, this is only the second time I've been here, but each time before I've like binged New York content, like you yourself and Eric Conover and all these people, and you guys make like cool like what to do in New York City or things to do in New York City, and for some reason this time I binged your channel and I ended up just following you on Instagram, and then
we did follow for follow, and then you slid into my DMs.
And then I said sub back, please. and no, I just followed you just cause I actually wasn't planning to hit you up because it was so last minute. But then I noticed that you followed me back, so I just sent you a quick DM. I was like, hey, I appreciate what you're doing with your clothing brand, which you have your own clothing brand, Fortune, New York. So I just sent you a quick message, and then I was doing that little meetup, and me and you were planning to get coffee after anyway, so you just kind of swung by the end of that. Yeah. And actually, there was a couple people there that enjoyed meeting you as well. Yeah, so that's the short story long of how I crossed paths with you. But I'd love for you to actually give me more backstory on you, because I actually haven't been able to go through your whole back catalog of your channel and like how you got started and what it is that you would describe that you do primarily.
Yeah, so I'm from Long Island, New York. So New York, born and raised, and I went to college in the city, graduated in 2014. I just turned 26. I think we're like a couple months apart.
Yeah, I'm about to turn 26.
Yeah. And went to college in the city, and then just never left it. I've lived here on my own for the past couple years. The first year after college, I lived on my sister's couch. So I was like, I ain't getting a normal job. I studied finance and interned at Morgan Stanley Investment Bank, but it just made me realize that I did not want to do that. So I was like, all right, I'm going to make my clothing company work, which I started actually in college. My grandfather owned a textile company. Always knew a lot about fabrics and clothing. So I started sewing clothes myself in college and, started selling it to small skate shops and boutiques and online. And then after about that first year of just doing it like full time out of college, living on a couch, then it started to be profitable. And yeah, I've been doing it full time ever since. And then in that process, once I got my first like apartment in Chinatown, which had 7 roommates, because that's what you got to do in New York when you're 22 years old and trying to make it.
It's expensive out here, isn't it?
It is. I know. For like, I was paying like $1,200 to have 7 roommates with a tiny bed. It's like,
each of you?
Yeah, we each paid $1,200. Yeah. Living with
like
strangers. In Detroit, right? So, and that's when I started my YouTube channel, because I wanted to just document the process of what it was like, because I just always dreamt of moving to the city and like trying to make it in the big city, and I think a lot of other people can relate to that or want to move here. So just started documenting it, making vlogs, and that led into this is like a weird thing to say, I guess, like into filmmaking and becoming a filmmaker. Now I have a second career with filmmaking and YouTube, where I am able to work with some huge brands. Like I've worked with Sony, Hintwater, Cliff Bar. I was just in Africa doing videos for Skillshare. So it's been cool that that's turned into a separate passion. Like it's a dream come true.
Yeah, and I think you have like New York City is like its own brand in a way. I've realized, like, you know how there's different circles on YouTube, like there's streetwear YouTubers, there's
Yeah.
tech tubers, there's like software tutorial tubers.
Yeah.
And then there's like also a New York City like specific circle. It's like its own living brand.
Yeah, shout out to the NYC squad.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people that are watching this are into that like filmmaking side of things, and you could probably there's probably a lot of valuable things you could talk about, like your experience working with brands, your experience starting your own brand, monetizing through filmmaking.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's where it's been good, is that I know both sides of the spectrum when working with brands and like how to create value for them, because my only marketing that I do for my company Fortune is influencer marketing.
Yeah.
So I really can see the both sides, and like when I pitch brands, I've honestly had like 100% return rate just because I give them such a good pitch with like a PDF and like, this is why you need to do this, and like give them a reason why they can't say no.
Okay. And also like the other thing that I think is interesting is you're able to make a full-time living, and you're not like one of those channels that's like 1 million subscribers or 500,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're probably making just as good of a living as many channels who can't figure out a way to do it with hundreds of thousands. So I think that's actually like when I was getting started, and just like your buddy was saying how you inspired him to start a channel. When I was getting started, what made me like, I would look around like, who else made it from my hometown? Who else made it talking about this subject? Who else made it that's my ethnicity? Who else made it that's my age? So I would like kill all my excuses.
What ethnicity are you?
I am Chaldean. Are you familiar with it?
Nope.
It's probably because there's a much bigger demographic of them that live in the Detroit area.
Okay.
Detroit, California, San Diego.
So which country is it?
So my parents immigrated here from Iraq, like the northern part of Iraq, and it's a very small ethnicity. Okay. There's actually a lot of very big YouTubers that are like. Do you know those FaZe guys?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
FaZe Rug. He's like.
I don't watch him, but I know.
Yeah, I know. He has like 10 million subscribers. Like that was actually like I looked at. He's Chaldean too.
Okay.
They live in San Diego, so like, and he has videos on his channel like speaking my language or whatever. And although it's not exactly my demographic, it's a lot more kid-friendly vlogs or whatever. I looked at him, and he's younger than me, but I looked at him and I was like, okay, there's someone that's my ethnicity that's actually like top 10 channels on YouTube. Yeah. No excuse there. You know, you just kill these excuses. So I think that I think a lot of people could look to your channel and kill that excuse of, oh, you need hundreds of thousands of followers to like to make a good living. And
that's the thing too. Like I'll get that comment a lot. Like, how are you doing all this stuff with like only 40,000 subscribers? But yeah, well, also like you get paid based on views too. Like I mean, there are some channels that have hundreds of thousands and don't get as many views as mine. You don't get paid by
subscribers. Just anyone that's listening, you get paid more so based on viewership. Yeah,
and the thing is, I think it's like being based in, like I've realized this more this year, like why I was getting hit up by so many brands, and it's because there's not many New York City YouTubers that do lifestyle like I do, where I can incorporate so many brands, and they're already paying so much in digital marketing to reach people based in New York City, where most of my audience is from. So I think that's why they look to me, or people like Eric Conover, and it's a better way to reach those people, since to get an ad in front of a person in New York City is so expensive online.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
You're right though.
Yeah, so to have a YouTube channel like that where that's your audience, that's why even like I charge a lot more, because I know that I have a high profile audience that I should be charging a lot, because I know that they pay a lot in marketing dollars to reach that same audience.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. Like I've made videos like different ways to make money online, and one of the best ways, or like when you like one way, a lot of people think that and you actually have a great following and an engaged following, but a lot of people, like even some of the people that are in the meetup today, they might not have a following or a channel, but like that guy Larry, the guy from Florida, like he's out here making videos for brands purely because he's good at making a video. So the brand is not paying him for his audience, they're paying him to create a piece of content for them. That's a good piece of content. So there's so many different ways. But you know what really interests me and what I think probably, I mean, you tell me, I don't know, like, would you say that that Fortune, your clothing brand, is like your bread and butter, or has it like kind of shifted into this like filmmaking, like branded content side?
Are we talking about money, or are we talking about focus?
Both, I guess, a little bit. Because what leading into that, what I mean is like, and the thing that's changed, like my ability to monetize, is having my own product, like selling my digital products on my website.
Mm-hmm.
Once I did that, I was no longer as reliant, because you're never gonna win on views. It's impossible, like almost impossible to survive off of viewership.
Mm-hmm.
And so all these different ways to monetize, having your own product, I think, is the quickest way to like start floating. Because like when you dive into this, like it's like you're drowning, and then having your own product is the thing that like allowed me to just breathe. You know, what about, would you say that Fortune has done that for you, or has it kind of been
so I mean, even now, like it's been crazy the opportunities that I've had with YouTube, where like I could definitely like I could like live in New York City well from just YouTube and like the branded stuff, just like, you know, getting lucky with working with some huge brands that had a lot of money, but also like Fortune definitely significantly is like, that's like it's become a much more successful business. I think the YouTube helped that, some like growing an audience, you know, getting 500,000 views in a month. You know, that's a lot of marketing. And also like I work with a lot of other influencers, and so there's two separate companies. I fully own Fortune NY LLC, the clothing company. And this isn't even like marketed that well unless like you listen to my content closely. But then there's Fortune Skateboards LLC, which I co-own with a pro skateboarder, X Games gold medalist.
Who is that?
His name's Manny Santiago. Okay. So he's based out of LA, and that just like really helped market the clothing though. So now it's been like growing significantly. Yeah. Not even just for me, which is nice. To like see it like growing and have people buy it who don't know who I am, and like
that's like one of the coolest things that really made me like be like, I want to follow this dude. That's something I want to learn how to do, is not like learn, but I want to eventually have something that lives separate from me. It's like a separate entity that functions with or without me. Because right now it's like the grind, and you know, every day you're in it, you're making videos, you edit your own videos. But to have this thing that people don't even know who you are, like you said, and they purchase it and just enjoy it as like a product, is like the not end goal, but like one of the longer term visions.
And I think that's what it was. And I was also doing this way before I was doing YouTube.
The textiles, like you said.
Yeah. So I was doing this way before YouTube, but also that I feel like a lot of YouTubers who do their merch, they only really sell it online. I think all of them pretty much, you know.
Yeah. And you're actually, so I saw in one of your vlogs, you went somewhere to, was it PacSun?
Oh, so yeah, like now we're in like 100 Zumiez stores.
And that is so cool.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you, I used to work retail, so there's this terminology. It's called doors, right? So
now I'm in Canada too, which has been huge.
Which is just so amazing to me. Which I view that as like an accomplishment. Like, that's as awesome of an accomplishment as like as any could get as a creator. Or like,
I
don't know.
It's been cool too, because like how today when we were at the meetup, so many people were just like, Justin, you like, thank you so much for everything that you taught me. Like, you changed my life. I got to work with Casey Neistat, that kid said, because you taught him.
Parvis, shout out Parvis.
Yeah, shout out to Parvis. He said that he learned so much, all because of you, and now is getting to, you know, work with these amazing creators like Casey Neistat. And for me, it's like I've made so much content about starting a business or a clothing business, and getting so many messages, or even running into people on the streets that like stop and just like, thank you so much for like everything you've taught me, and like the inspiration and showing us behind the scenes of running a company and a clothing company. And that's where it like really hits home, where you're just like, wow, like that's crazy. And like, especially hearing people's success stories too, where they're like, like I got to do this, or like my company's now in all these stores, or so that's like the best feeling.
Is there any like any company that, you know, what's the craziest is when you end up affecting yourself. Like I like watch someone's channel that I genuinely enjoy, and somehow, I'll tell you a story. Like I teach a lot of music video effects, and I'll end up watching a music video from an artist that I genuinely enjoy, was gonna watch anyway, and I'll end up realizing that the dude who edited the video or shot the video like added one of my tricks in there or something, and I'm like, I just influenced myself.
That's amazing.
Have you ever like bought like a t-shirt and realized that you helped that brand start?
Close to it. I've never like had it on accident like you have.
Yeah.
Like I've always like kids have like sent me, and then I've like wanted to support it because like they're like, oh, like you helped
And in
this
a way
clothing
you
company.
helped it.
Yeah. But that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
It's like it's half accidental, half like you do the research about it, I
Yeah.
guess. But so there's so much I actually want to ask you about actually making clothes and like your thoughts. Are you into the whole like streetwear, skatewear culture? I know like Supreme's in New York, and like Palace and all these like skatewear brands. I'm multitasking, multi-thread so much. Even going back to the doors thing.
Yeah.
I want to finish that thought. You said you're in 100 doors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many stores does PacSun even have?
It's Zumiez.
Sorry, Zumiez.
Similar.
Sorry. We have PacSun in my local mall. That's
Okay.
we probably have Zumiez too. But
Yeah, they have.
PacSun needs to pick it up.
Yeah, I know they're almost going out of business, but like they got bought out, so we'll see where things go. But they have about 750.
And so you're in like over 10%. My math sucks. Like
It started off in 5, like 2 years ago, and then it's just been like growing. And then like lately, it's been growing faster than ever. Where like they've been ordering nonstop, which has been insane.
Yeah. So I used to work at Nordstrom. A lot of people might not know that, retail, and that's why I even know what the word doors means. So I worked at like a rinky-dink little one in like a little outdoor mall, and so there's different values of doors, right? So all the luxury, highest end designer, most popular stuff goes to like the biggest mall in the state, and that's considered like one of the top doors. And then ours was like a more small door that not as much higher end stuff would go to. Have you gone into like, are you in, do they organize it that way at Zumiez?
Yeah, they do. I don't know if it's by like higher end, but I know like the top doors are in New York City.
Are you in like some big malls?
Yeah. I mean, even there's a store right across the street from the Empire State Building, and I think one of the reasons why at first it was becoming successful was because it had New York on it, and it was only in New York City, like the greater New York City area.
Exclusive.
Yeah, so all the tourists that go into Empire, into the location by the Empire State Building, they'd go in and ask the employees, oh, are there any like things that say New York on it? We want to bring it back home. And it was one of the only brands in there, because if you think of some of these streetwear brands or skatewear brands that are in there, it's, like Diamond Supply Co., The Hundreds, Primitive, Obey, companies mostly based out of Los Angeles. So to be based out of New York and have that on the shirts, I think that's why I was like flying off the shelves, because they put it in 5 doors, and then literally like after a week of it being in, they put it in 10.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just like, this is awesome. Like, we need to keep doing it. Then like it kind of like coasted for a bit, because I was like focusing on YouTube stuff, and then like all of a sudden, like I'd say the beginning of 2018, maybe even a little earlier, that's when it like lately it's just been like skyrocketing, which has been exciting, but it's a lot. So now like I'm starting to bring on more employees, and like now I have an intern who helps me film, and he'll like help.
Him?
No, that's just my friend.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, that's
Chris was in earlier today on a Sunday, had him working.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Like again, like being able to expand into a team is like one of the dream goals, know. How do you even how did that opportunity even arise? Do you shop your stuff around? And I also wanted to ask, aside from Zumiez, do you like make a list of all the cool, because there's so many cool like one-off shops. Do you like go in there, talk to the manager, introduce yourself?
I used to, but a lot of those stores wouldn't pay. And especially like I would give them the goods, everything would be shipped, and then I'd give them, like net 30 terms, like 30 days to pay. And either they'd go out of business, or like they just and like ignore the email. So it's kind of sad, but like Zumiez, it's corporate, so they always pay on time.
How did you get into that? And can you talk about?
Well, I did want to say so I do love like those smaller boutiques, and like the ones that like I have good relationships with, like still sell to. But honestly, only the skateboards we sell to the small shops now. The clothing kind of just focus online.
Yeah.
As of right now, Zumiez, and then overseas we sell to some distributors that sell to like the smaller shops, like in like Japan and stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because Fortune kind of has like Asian influence in a way.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, I've like based a lot of the brand image like off of like the raw Chinatown, like where I was living. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I saw one that those yellow shirts were cool.
Yeah.
Like, was it like the Chinese New Year dragon?
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, honestly, they're there's so much like talking about how do you design a shirt, how do you print a shirt, like real quick, I guess. Then like how did you get that opportunity with Zumiez? Because a lot of people might be
okay. I have a video on it.
Okay, cool.
They can watch it, but it's called "How I Got My Brand into Zumiez." And do you know my friend Dylan, who you just met?
Yeah.
So he was working at a Zumiez at Union Square, and I was still living on my sister's couch at that point, and I was like, all right, I was like making plans on like how can I make this business like profitable where I can, at least make $3,000 a month, because that's like the minimum in New York City that you need. And I was like, I need to get into Zumiez, and I was like, how the hell do I do that? I don't know. So my friend Dylan was working at Zumiez. I got a job there, met some like this doesn't really work. Like, I feel like people might try and do this, and I don't want to encourage it because, like, it just kind of was all luck. But I got a job there, met some of the managers, and that the manager actually, like, knew a Fortune already. He's like, what, you want to, all right, like, you can get a job here. That's cool. And he came to me and even said, hey, like, I know the buyer of Zumiez at the headquarters in Seattle. Like, maybe I could talk to him about getting Fortune in it.
Yep.
So I didn't even ask. Like, it just was like luck, and like I was like, yeah, like make that happen. And then
like luck meets timing,
Exactly. Because the preparation.
Well, the overarching theme is like people know people.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
So they ended up.
And then the buyer first said like, oh, like I don't know, like we don't know if an employee can like handle an order from us, like because you're making minimum wage at the retail store, so they're probably like
production that goes into production.
Yeah, so they're like, can he afford like to handle a order from us? And then to show that I was serious, I quit. So I was there for like literally like probably 10 days and quit. And I was like, yeah, like I'm serious about this.
What's their like minimum order?
It depends. I don't think they even have like a minimum, but it's like.
Were you making all the shirts yourself? Like, talk about like your factory.
All right, yeah, I never even talked about this. I actually probably have like, I gotta make a video on this because I have like video like before I was vlogging, just like on my iPhone, just because I was like, I remember, I never said this. I literally teared like the first order from Zumiez, not because it was big, because I shipped it out of my mom's garage, and I worked for a week because you have to put the plastic hang tags in the shirts that say like the price tags that says like Zumiez t-shirt $30. So I was literally there, like I had like friends come over and I had like a pizza party, and they helped me use this like gun thing, like a plastic fastener gun, to do that. And it took so long to do that to all the shirts. And I also was sewing on all the neck labels on the shirts. So it was literally like a week straight of trying to fulfill that order for my mom's garage. And I missed, so when you get an order from a big store, they give you a purchase order, and it has a cancel date. And if you don't hit that cancel date, they can cancel the order. And I missed the date on the first order. It looked so bad, but I like told the buyer, like, sorry, I need like another week. And I remember like I felt so bad. I was like, frick, like I get this huge opportunity and I can't meet the order in time. He was like, it was like no problem. He was like, oh yeah, like no problem. Like, well, no rush. Yeah. But I remember I was like so stressed out on that first order, shipped it from my mom's garage. And now it's, we have a full operation where it's so smooth now. I never really talked about that before, but yeah, I remember like shedding a tear because I was just like blowing my only shot. It's like Eminem, your boy shedding from your town, you got one shot, can't miss your chance to
And actually, speaking of Detroit, Tony Hawk, he sets up like Tony Hawk skate parks around different cities now with like his foundation.
Yep.
He has one like right downtown. It's pretty cool. It's like all these funky signs, and it's just like a place for kids to skate. The other day, if you follow him on Instagram,
I do.
He was back in Detroit for some reason, and he had one of his skateboards that he had ridden, and he hid it behind like this really recognizable monument downtown. It's called the Spirit of Detroit.
Oh, nice.
It's just a statue like right kind of like in the heart of downtown, and he posted on Instagram like first person, or I just put my skateboard behind this trash can. Go there and get it, and like some dude went and found it. So
that's awesome. Cool. I'm gonna do that this week.
Dude.
Follow me on Instagram at brettconti.nyc, and if you live in New York City,
yeah, and follow me on Instagram at Justin Odisho. Instagram is so cool. Like, it's my number 1 and 2 is like YouTube and Instagram.
Same.
And then like Twitter.
Yeah.
But
hey, you know what's crazy? I don't even know if you know this, but in 2017, $1 billion was spent on Instagram influencer marketing. 2018, it's supposed to be $2 billion, and then they're saying by like 2020, like it's gonna be $10 billion industry, which I totally believe, because even for me, I get hit up more about Instagram, which is insane. Like, companies are just dying for Instagram influencers. It's
like, sure, I might have a lot of subscribers on YouTube, but it's not necessarily people interested in me. And I actually look at people's Twitter and Instagram following as like a more accurate gauge of like
their
how much
influence
attention does this person have. And so like, yeah, I definitely like there's probably like I might have all these YouTube subscribers, but I look at someone who has like 60K on Instagram and I view them as like further ahead than me in a weird way.
Interesting.
It's interesting, it is, but like I kind of value almost that type of and especially because Instagram's been eating every other platform. Like, aside from long form searchable video on YouTube, what can't you do on Instagram? And every and like, it killed Vine, it killed
Snapchat.
Not killed, but it took a big bite out of Vine, right? When they put 1 minute videos up, it basically halted Snapchat growth, if not aided to killing it in a way. It does live streaming, so all those little mobile live streaming apps, like, you can just use Instagram Live. Like, maybe that's a shot at Periscope. It has these like tweet-like features now. You know, it's just like, what can't you do?
No, IGTV, they're trying to kill YouTube.
Yeah, it's like, what can't you do? I feel like there's desktop sites like YouTube, not I guess, but like the mobile social network is Instagram.
That's because it's Facebook, and that's exactly like Facebook's thing. Like, they just want to be that site that you go to every day. You get your news, you get everything from.
Yeah, it's like, I think that's the way social media was meant to evolve. Like, there was never meant to be all these different apps. Yeah. It's like most of them were just features, like Snapchat, like disappearing photos and stories. It's like, it was a cool feature, but it was never meant to be like its own platform. And so it just gets like ate up by Instagram. It's like that game where the bubbles like collide into each other and become one big bubble, and Instagram happened to be that. But your story about sewing all the tags and whatever yourself, like picking up from that moment, it actually reminds me a lot of are you familiar with like Dame Dash?
I'm not.
Sorry, wait, no, not Dame Dash. Rewind that. I'm thinking of someone else. Who's the guy who's on Shark Tank? Damon John,
yeah.
Damon.
Yeah.
What was his clothing brand?
FUBU. For us, by us.
Yes, I was driving home from Toronto, and I like listening to podcasts when I drive. By the way, you guys can listen to this podcast on Apple, iTunes, everywhere. Listen to it when you're driving, because it's like a 4-hour drive back home. And so I put on the How I Built This podcast, which is a really good one, NPR does. And I was listening to his story about how he started FUBU.
You're going to send me that podcast. I'm gonna
yeah,
check
you
that
should
out.
definitely listen to it. It's right in that lane of what you do.
Okay.
And he was talking about how when he had one of his first big orders, he called all his buddies over. They were doing it out of his mom's kitchen. Like, they literally put all the tags up like themselves. It really.
Wow, that's the same exact thing. That's so funny.
So, and look at where he ended up. Like, so you're like following that same journey in a way.
I mean, honestly, I've been thinking about it more than ever. When I first started, I dreamt of just being able to like live off of it and like just paying rent. And now it's crazy to like think about having to like pay other people to like make sure their rent's paid too, and like they have enough. So it's like nuts to like now just like being a totally different life. I don't know, it just feels so different than like I never thought it would be here.
Your brand is flourishing, and it's so talk about those steps, I guess. Like, you're kind of figuring out the path. So like, what have you learned? You know what's so interesting to me, actually, even before that, is like the production side of things. Like, do you still do everything you and your homies tag in, or like
No.
what have you learned that like even blank, like let's say someone like me, for example, I have a little YouTube audience and I want to put out 100 t-shirts, like 100 t-shirt run of something. Where the heck do I even start?
So that's what's like so interesting. Like I have so many YouTube friends that like have such an insane following, and they usually like partner up with some company or their MCM and do their merch, and then like they'll get like 50% of it. And I'm like, I would just want to help you, and oh yeah, and they have that now through Teespring, right?
They built it in so it can pop up on your videos, which is interesting.
Yeah, that is really interesting. But what I was saying was that
you want to help.
Yeah, I would do it for free. Like I have done this before where I've just like helped them. Like it's not that hard to get these t-shirts, man. You get 100% of the profits.
Yeah.
But the long story short is like every little town has dozens of screen printing and embroidery places, and they can pretty much do everything for you. Like they can tell you what blanks they can do. So if you want like like a lot of the stores in Zumiez, they use this company All Style, which is a good blank. Yep. Next Level. There's Canvas.
Gildan.
There's so many. Gildan. And then, you can get them screen printed. And it's as easy as that. I guess you have to learn how to make the graphic design and the art for it.
It's the other thing.
Yeah, but I'm sure you have a friend from back home who studied graphic design. You could pay him $50 and get some cool shirts.
Yes, a lot of my channel actually started teaching Photoshop, so there actually was like a lot of graphic design people watching, and I used to do little freelance jobs, and people sometimes the little jobs would be like people looking for T-shirt designs. Wow. Did you do the designs yourself? Like how did you come up with
I
the
didn't
designs?
know any graphic design when I first started. I was sewing, so it started off with just pocket T-shirts. I didn't know graphic design, but I knew how to sew. Now I know graphic design. I picked it up right away when I started the company, where I was just using it every day, to be honest. Like I was making posters, I was making T-shirt designs then, but everything was all sewn by me in my dorm room. So it's crazy to see people who still have like those first pieces.
Do you get those? It's been in a brand for like 4 or 5 years now, right?
Yeah. And so the other thing I should say that I had not like now, but I had an audience for my skateboarding. I used to have sponsors from Nike, Red Bull, Zoo York.
Are you like a professional level skateboarder, or just like a good?
I was. This is weird to say. I was like on that route, so I was doing a lot of the big contests, and that's how I met my business partner Manny. We were at a AM contest in California, and then he just kept going and took it to the next level, and now is a superstar with it. But back to what I was saying with the designs, I did want to say, because I think this could be valuable to anyone who doesn't know how clothing companies make their collections, which is usually create a mood board. So me and my designer will go through Pinterest and Google Images, things that we want to make the collection about. So like say it's like a Chinatown theme, or right now we're doing something with like the Mayan inspired stuff. So you just go through Pinterest, look at stuff, grab stuff that inspires you. We'll usually like print it out and make a legit board, and then base that collection off of that. So it's not just like everything's just random, like, oh, it's cool. Like so
cool fonts.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's something that's helped out.
Has like a theme.
Yeah. I
actually didn't know that.
Have you ever heard of a mood board?
Yeah, I actually have.
Because you use that for everything in graphic design.
Yeah, I have a vision board in my closet with like it's literally a cork thing, and I print out like just things I want to look at every day.
Okay.
And
it's like an inspiration board. Yeah.
And mood board is basically like a physical version of your Pinterest collections. And even speaking of that, Instagram just added their collections button. RIP Pinterest maybe. And they just changed their explore page to be more categorical. But I used to be a lot more into, like I was telling you off mic, I used to buy and sell clothes a lot, especially like more higher value streetwear type of stuff. Are you familiar with this website Grailed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like I would buy and sell stuff that was like on Grailed before Grailed is even like out of beta mode. That's a super interesting story in itself, how that site got started. Yeah. But you know how much some of these streetwear type of brands, especially skate brands.
Yeah, I mean like the Supreme Palace, like that's definitely like a different ball game.
Yeah. You know how like the value of this stuff is, and
it's like insane. They'll sell a brick for like $1,000.
literally a brick. He's not joking.
It's like they're just messing with you. Like, how
Yeah.
dumb are you? Are you gonna buy a brick? Like,
Yeah, and so like I was in for a long time. I was really into like actually everyone I followed on YouTube. Like, if you check out my last podcast, like all those type of dudes who. So I was into like fashion, and like if you actually look at how runway shows are done, a lot of people think like who would ever wear this stuff, but it's not meant to be worn. It's actually meant to like represent a idea or a theme, and then the stuff that actually hits the shelves is like toned down versions of that mood board or whatever. But speaking of like these hype brands, how do you approach getting your brand, how do you approach building your brand credibility? Do you like try to send it to like, okay, if Kanye West wears Fortune one day, your stocks are going through the roof. So do you like send it like?
Yeah, that speaking of like how you brought up Damon John, a book that really inspired me was by Mark Echo, if you're familiar with
read
Echo.
It on the label.
Yeah. Amazing book. What's crazy, so he ended up buying Zoo York. And then he sold both of Echo and Zoo York to Iconics.
Complex.
Yeah, and he runs Complex. But he talks about like sending it to celebrities. But what was crazy, I remember
swag bombs or whatever.
Yeah. So when I first started Fortune, it was a lot more, I guess you would say, exclusive than it was. And like we used to do really well online for $0 in marketing, but just from like having cool people wear it.
Would you just send it to them, or you're?
Just like sending
skater,
it.
You have a lot of cool friends.
Yeah. So it was like all like connections. But then I remember I get hit up by like some like. Remember I once went to like Kendrick Lamar's Grammy party 2 years ago, and I like sent him and then his producer a bunch of swag, and the producer was actually wearing it at the party, which was insane. And I remember like they emailed me back like, oh, like thank you for sending stuff. Like if you so happen to be in LA like in 2 weeks for the Grammy party, you're more than welcome to come. I didn't plan on going to LA, but I flew out there just for that party, and it was pretty amazing.
That's
so
crazy.
But yeah. So it's just more like meeting a lot of connections, and like trying to know friends who have cool friends, or just getting it out there.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Even today, like I appreciate how open you were to like swinging by, like just shaking hands, kissing babies, whatever. Even down to do this. Like I totally wasn't planning to do this convo, and sometimes it's hard when you first meet somebody. Everyone is different, but like I think that me and you have a similar perspective and goals.
Totally.
And we're both on this same mission.
Yeah.
Kind of, not the same mission, but we're both using the same tools, and we understand like we're both kind of on a similar grind.
Right.
And so it's totally cool and comfortable right now to be having this convo. Whereas sometimes it's hard to meet somebody right away and be down to like, it's like we already understand.
We both have like the similar mindset too, with like trying to make educational YouTube videos and not just like, what's up guys, like yelling.
Although I'm trying to transition.
You're the next Logan Paul.
Yes. Who can I start some beef with?
Let's do it. Let's make a rap battle right now.
I do. There's like no software tutorial guys. Like it's all like the super friendly, like the friendliest dudes ever. Just like call out video Copilot. Just like this nice family guy, like teaching. It's like that would just probably be bad.
Yeah.
But no, I think that is a lot of people might ask like, how do you network? How do you get clients? It's just having the vision, having that goals and mindset and vision, and being open to maybe not go out of your way, but like go to the opportunities rather than wait for them to come to you.
Yeah.
But so now you're building out this team. Like, what's the next steps kind of?
The next step is to build the team more right now, because I know that I can't do everything myself. So to hopefully bring on another designer, and then like someone else to just essentially be a second me is what I'm looking for. So maybe even like my cousin I've been talking to, and just trying to find the right person to just be exactly all the things that I can't be doing all the time, especially since I do so much with YouTube and filmmaking. So that's the plan, just so that we can take it to the next step. Because yeah, like it's a Sunday night and I'm here at the office working. So I think the next step is to build a team and be able to grow even more. Because right now it's like we're growing faster than like I can handle that. Like I can't do it all myself, and the responsibilities where it's like every day work and trying to catch up.
Is it hard to let go? Almost like, are you one of the people that are like, it needs to be edited this way, or the design has to look like this, or like that's how I am. Like,
No.
And I need to get to that point where I can have it, because like you said, you can only go so far by yourself.
Yeah. And that's why I think at first I was going to say, no, I don't think so. But I think I was just so picky with the people that I've brought on board that I'm not so picky with their work. Like there's been times like last week when I got back I was in Turkey, and when I got back, I had to get all these videos ready for Skillshare. And it was like the first time I had my intern like really help edit a video, because like I love editing every single video, and like he'll help chop stuff up sometimes, but I was just so busy and stressed out with trying to do fortune stuff as well that I had to have him like do the like main draft of this video. But he edited exactly like how I would. He was a viewer. That sounds kind of weird to say, but yeah, like that's how he got the job. So he knows my style and he's talented. And same with my designer. Like why I hired him was because I love his work. So there's been so many times where like we just ran with designs like where I'm just like, yeah, like I trust you like you do. You know, there's a reason why I've had you work for me for 2 years. So I think finding the right team that can see the same vision as you makes it easier to just be more lenient and trusting.
Yeah, that's the one thing when I used to do client work, I mean freelance, whatever, is like when you have full trust and creative control, you usually end up with a better product than when both people have an idea and then you end up meeting in like this weird middle gray area that's not really either person's idea. It's just like a settle of both. Yeah. You know? So I think those are good is that a word? Managerial qualities. Yeah. and leader qualities is like trust. Yeah. Trust. So much is built on trust. Everything really, like totally. Brands trusting you to deliver, you know, and at this point you've built up a reputation. And at this point too, like this is not my first podcast. Why are we able to do this so quickly? It's like, oh, I've already had so-and-so. I've done 20 plus episodes. It's like, right. If I hadn't just started a year ago and then I randomly bumped into you here, it's like I wouldn't have had enough credibility built up yet so that we can just bang it out. So just starting helps, like works in your favor in ways that you probably... I feel like
that's like some Gary Vee stuff right there.
I guess,
just start.
Just starting.
It's true,
I don't even
though.
know how I got to that point, but works in your favor in like ways that you don't even understand.
Totally.
But I actually might be going through their offices tomorrow, maybe. I'm trying to interview Tyler Babin, his video editor.
Okay.
And
Team Gary Vee?
Yeah, his like guy who shoots a lot of his vlogs and videos.
Nice.
And that should be interesting. But
yeah.
I mean, hopefully this is a foreshadowing to tomorrow's episode.
Hope so. Build the hype.
But I guess I want to try something actually. It's something I've been meaning to include in my podcast. I feel like we've gone through like a good chunk of like how you got started, what you're currently up to, and on your channel, definitely probably if someone wants to learn more about textiles or how you actually just different topics. I'm sure you have a video on all of those, so that'll be good. But I wanted to include this segment of like, because I have this theory that like a lot of people's motivation and drive and their reason to be successful in what they do comes from some sort of struggle or failure or difficulty or time where they really wanted something but couldn't get it. Is that true in your case? Is there like a particular moment when you're growing up or a failure that has driven you? Like for me, it was always, you know, growing up, I felt like I was smart and capable of doing something, but I guess I was just kind of shy, and then people just didn't treat me that way. And so it was kind of a struggle between who I think I am and the way people treat me. Not like I was treat it in any bad way, but like the way people see me versus the way I see myself, and making those two align. Otherwise, there's friction.
Mm-hmm.
Is there some sort of like big failure in your life that has driven you, motivated you?
There's definitely so many, like from having like tiny apartments with like no windows in Chinatown to just like dreaming of like being able to live here. But and I feel like there's so many too, but one of them was definitely like when my dad would pressure me to get a job, and he got me the internship at Morgan Stanley Investment Bank. And when they offered me a full-time job to make, $60,000 a year at 21 years old, and I said no, my dad was just like, what's wrong? Like, this is what you do. Like, he's so supportive now, and like, but he was just like, didn't think that this was possible. Like, it is a tough thing to try and make it in New York, like 21 years old, and not have like a steady income. And he'd always say, like, every time I would see him, like, oh, so when are you getting a job? Like, oh, I know this cool company you should apply for. Like, and then I just remember, like, I had a check get delivered to him for like 10 grand or something like that. When he opened it up and was like, wow, like, you're actually doing this. Like, this is turning into like a successful career. So I think like that moment, like when he stopped asking me, when are you getting a job? And like just proving to my dad, like, Dad, I can do this. It's kind of similar. I just watched it. Steve Aoki has a Netflix documentary called Sleep When You're Dead. And he, his huge motivation was like trying to prove to his dad that he could make it on his own as a music producer. And it was just very similar for me, like where that was a lot of my motivation, like, Dad, I can make it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. So I think trying to prove to him that, I could be, I used to say as a kid, a professional Brett. I guess every YouTuber is essentially that, you're a professional Justin.
Me.
But when I was like 8 years old and my sister would ask me, or my mom would ask me, what do you want to be when you're older? I would say professional Brett. Didn't know what that meant, but I guess that's
you made it
yeah,
come true.
Professional Brett.
Yeah, proving yourself right, and also not disappointing your parents, and also proving them wrong in some ways.
Yeah, I do want to say though, because I never said this on my own personal account. Actually, what's your opinion on this? So I'm gonna launch, by the time this podcast is up, so hopefully it'll be up this week, I'm gonna launch a Patreon. Not even just like, it's gonna be $1 a month. I'm gonna do like a weekly audio thing. Sometimes like have people on it, like, but just like kind of share more deeper stories about like entrepreneurship, or like people who went through a similar thing as me. But I think I might do that, just even like the $1, just like help. I feel like if you're paying $1 a month, like you're more engaged with it, and like you want to be a part of like that community.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Because I don't even want it to like grow. I want it to just be like my core like YouTube audience or something like that like.
They did just do this new sponsor feature on YouTube. I'm not sure if they
I don't have 100K though.
Is it a 100K thing?
I think
it's
so.
just in beta. And they're eventually going to roll it out. That's interesting. It might be a way to like... Yeah. But Patreon's also cool.
Yeah.
I like I'm not sure how you'd set it up between like Patreon or between a paywall or whatever. I do love the idea of sharing more personal stories.
Yeah. And it's like YouTube's such a polished thing.
Yeah.
That it's like... when I first started, I would include all these personal things, and like that was what my vlog would be with my, point and shoot camera. But now it's like I only want to upload a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And I still miss that connection, and like find that I know that people get a lot of value out of hearing my stories.
I honestly think you should just go for it. I don't think it would taint. I think your audience appreciates you, whereas like I struggle with the same thing, right? Because this is something that actually is super real. Some people do only maybe not know how I look like, know they only came for like a tutorial. So it is kind of a big difference if I just do like telling a story. And some people, it's a bit jarring and they unsubscribe or like whatever. You can't please everybody the bigger your audience gets. But I think it's worth it to carve out that core, true, dedicated person.
Right.
Whether that be like through Patreon or whatever, like who enjoys your vlogs, your brand, your stories, your life, your podcast, whatever.
And that is essentially what my YouTube channel actually is. Like everything was always a vlog, and like it wasn't like I did dedicated videos. I'm starting to do more of that here and there. Yeah. But I definitely like will think out videos more now. Yeah. So I want just like super raw, just like audio people can listen to. But yeah, like one of the things I want to talk about was like even like my mom was super supportive. She actually got a bonus from work, I remember, and she gave me like the $2,000 to get LLC'd. So I remember like it would have probably been so long until I got LLC'd, and then but my mom like came through and like was able to help like fund the business. So I owe her big time.
Yeah. No, I always have this. I wrote down this note to myself. Try new things often. It just might wildly work.
I like it.
Because that's how even my channel grew. It's like by this trying like 10 different. I used to just be Photoshop, and then I just hit this moment of like I got to make this work by the time I graduate college. Book review. I reviewed like Shoe Dog, Unlabel, like book review, live stream, podcast, branch out into video editing content, blah 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 blah, and then like saw what stuck, which was a lot of the video editing stuff, and grinded that out. And then now I'm like I'm still like try new things and build and build and build and build.
Totally.
So, and I even wrote down in my notes like, heck, why can't I do a Storytime video? Like I respect these Storytime YouTubers because they can just turn on the camera, a blank wall, and like tell an engaging story. It's like that would be the dream if I could just tell a story and have 10,000 people view it. You know? I would just bang them out, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but like I've never tried it though, so it's like I have kind of, but I should just I have it written down, like stories I can tell. Oh, the time I worked retail, the time I did this, the time I did that. I think it'd be interesting. So I think it could be a whole little playlist, like story time with Brett.
The thing, like, I wouldn't even mind like throwing up, like I throw up, you know, not even based off of like trying to get the views or whatever, but it's more just because like what excites me like the most right now is getting these opportunities with brands and like doing travel stuff, because the channel has really transpired into like almost like a travel channel, which is like why I loved YouTube, like what I loved watching on YouTube and what I still do. And I've been getting like a lot of opportunities to do that. So I want to keep working with like brands. So just like have that as a good portfolio. And I think if I throw up too many of I don't know, I may be overthinking it, but like
it's like everyone has their vision for their, and there's always, I overthink so much, like especially for Instagram. I think in a way, like 9 out of 10 times we're overthinking it. We have actually something with a seed of truth in it, but 9 out of 10 times in my case, it's just me overthinking it. Yeah. And whenever I do the opposite, it like works for me. But even the fact that I like started this, nothing makes me happier than getting good watch time and engagement on a video that is not a tutorial right now. Like I just did one like my 5 favorite books, and I did one like, is
that one of them?
No, shout out to this guy, but I can't even tell this story right now. You'll see it. Shout out to Stigmatism guy. Like I could get 1 million views on a tutorial, and like just getting like 10,000 views on a podcast feels better. Because it's like, dang, I created this fully from scratch, whereas the tutorials, it's like kind of cheating. I'm leveraging something that's not me, but like the fact that people would just listen to a conversation and it gets great watch time, it's like feels that 5,000 views just feels like amazing compared to getting like 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 on something else.
Yeah. And so my channel has always been that, like, just kind of based on, you know, it's my YouTube channel, like a diary almost. And my roommate, who's been my best friend for a while, Living Bobby, we've been best friends since college, and he's actually the reason that like showed me YouTube like a while ago, but then he like moved to Vietnam and all over the place, but then he moved back last year and got into YouTube. I like helped him get his first 1,000 subscribers, and then he just like blew up and now grows like 5,000 subscribers a day, which is insane. And like I've had friends like even John Hill, who's a good friend of mine, big YouTuber. He's even like, oh, like, is it weird, like, you know, Bobby just like blowing up?
Yeah, I've had John on the show, by the way.
Oh,
check out the episode.
John is the man. I know that you knew John Hill. And the thing is, it's like I don't do YouTube to like Bobby, that is him though. He like makes food videos, for the people who are unfamiliar. He does like food videos and challenges, and that's him though. Like he like has been doing this since before YouTube. Like this is like what he does, is like challenges and like these food things, and that fits in perfectly for me. I love just making videos about like my life or like milestones or travels and you know, business. And I'm not like trying to like get 1 million subscribers or like care about that. Like I just love making my videos, and of course I do want the most people to see it, but I want them to see it because of me.
Feels
so
good,
I
yeah.
care so much more. Like, yeah, like getting 10,000 views. It's like that means a lot to me. That like 10,000 people want to hear about,
Yeah. Yeah,
me
you know
starting a
when
company.
the views came from like some other trending topic versus if it's just like you can name the video like Untitled 01 and people still check it
Yeah,
out.
I've never even talked about that either. Yeah, like my most viewed video is because like Bobby was doing these food videos and he like inspired me. So I did like a Chipotle hack video and it's like still gets like 10,000 views a day. I think it's at like
Yeah.
four
But it
hundred
probably
thousand. But it's
feels
like I don't even care about like
exactly.
I like
Yeah.
wish I didn't upload that video. I like want to take it
No,
down.
no, it's all
No, yeah, I'm not actually, but I'm just like
there's like a net positive of like people that still end up finding you and enjoy your personal
yeah.
content.
But it's like
But I
when you
get
get a
it.
channel that's like kind of once if you have a big channel and like you do videos, like you can tell if it's gonna like like the tricks on like how to make it blow up. So
Yeah,
I like even when I made it,
yeah.
I'm like I'm sure this one might, but I'm like
The word
I wish it
hacks in the
didn't.
title anytime in the past 12 months.
Yeah.
Guaranteed extra 10,000 views.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, but I don't even care about that. Like I don't want to make more videos
Mhm.
like that.
Feels
like
much better to get good engagement on
Yeah.
like, telling a story about your life.
Exactly.
Mhm. I think we did discuss a ton of cool stuff though. If you listen this far into the episode, send me and Brett a DM on Instagram. Follow us and tell us, what was your favorite lesson? What did
Ooh,
you
I like
learn?
that.
Relate it. Tell us. Just say thanks for the episode. I love when you guys message and
Wait, and we'll respond back.
yeah, I respond to all my DMs.
Do you?
Yep,
Wow.
100%. Even if it's just with a heart
That's
sometimes. Or
impressive.
I'm
Okay.
not sure.
Yeah, yeah, but still, like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
I
some
respect
people
that.
don't. Yeah. Yeah, let Brett know if you appreciate his stories. And just ask me what was that thing I was gonna say, and by the time you message me, I'll probably remember.
There we go.
So,
I want to know what it was too.
Yeah, probably was not important at all. It's just like I have to get every little tidbit out. Like in some of my earlier episodes, and even in this one, I talk too much and I talk over people. But I'm trying to get better
No,
at
you
listening.
did a great job. I didn't think you overtalked me.
But any final things that you want to say as we cross into that 1 hour mark? Any final stories? What are you working on what do you want people to do? Everyone who made it this far, they're very valuable, engaged viewers. What do you want them to do?
Get out and get busy. That's my like mantra that I say at all my videos. But I want them to just start and just do it and know that you can outdo yourself. Like I said, I didn't think I'd be able to like make 6 figures off of a clothing company when I first started and was hyped to make like, $20, like a month. And that's the thing now that I realize that I'm not motivated by like money anymore. Like, it's like I have enough to like do whatever I want. And like now I just like want to do what I want to do, which is still create, dope clothes and create videos and work with brands and travel. So it's cool to be in that position where like you're doing the things that you actually want to do and not just like I need money to survive.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I want everyone to know that they can do whatever they want and they can do more than what they expected if you just, stay focused, don't give up, meet cool people, have friends that are doing the same thing, have friends that are inspiring you, because that's what I owe everything to.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brett, for hanging out, drinking boba earlier, and
Thank you for the boba.
recording this podcast with me. For all those of you listening, definitely, I'll leave all the links everywhere. Check out Brett Conti. Just type it in YouTube, Google. I'll leave links to Instagram, YouTube, Fortune, so you guys can check out his brand and see what he's talking about, all his designs. And I'll also leave links to all the places you can find me and the rest of the episodes of this podcast. A rating on iTunes, the messages to us, much appreciated. Thank you so much for listening to another episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay.
I wonder how long that was.
Right about an hour.